Chapter 1, A New Idea is Born, Before the Pyramids. A long, long time ago, there was a special country. This country is named Egypt. Egypt is a very hot place. It has a lot of sand. It has a big desert. But Egypt also has something wonderful. It has a river. A very, very long river. The name of the river is the Nile. The Nile was very important for the people of Egypt. The river gave them water to drink. The river gave them water for their food. Every year, the Nile River would bring new, good soil to the land. This good soil helped the plants grow. The people could grow a lot of food. Because they had a lot of food, many people could live in Egypt. The people of Egypt had a king. Their king was called the Pharaoh. The Pharaoh was not just a king. For the people, the Pharaoh was also like a god. He was very, very important. Everyone respected the Pharaoh. Now, the people of Egypt had a very strong belief. Their belief was about life and death. They believed that when a person dies, their life does not end. They believed that life continues. It continues in another world, a new place. This is called the afterlife. The Egyptians believed that every person has a spirit. They called this spirit the Ka. Your Ka is like a second you. It is the part of you that lives on after you die. When you die, your body stays, but your Ka, your spirit, goes to the afterlife. But the Ka needed some things to live in the afterlife. The Ka needed a body to come back to. It needed a home. So, it was very important to keep the dead person's body safe. The body must not be destroyed. How do you keep a body safe for a very long time? The Egyptians found a way. They learned how to preserve the body. They cleaned it and dried it. Then, they wrapped it in many, many long pieces of white cloth. A body that is saved like this is called a mummy. So now, they have the mummy. The Ka has a body to come back to. What else does the Ka need? The Ka needs a house. A safe house for the mummy. This special house is called a tomb. Why did the tomb need to be safe? It needed to be safe from animals in the desert. And it needed to be safe from bad people. Some people, called robbers, wanted to steal things from the tombs. Why were there things to steal? Because the Egyptians put many things inside the tomb. They believed the Ka needed its things in the afterlife. They put food and drink. They put furniture, like chairs and beds. They put clothes. They put games. For a rich person, they put a lot of treasure, like gold and jewelry. At first, the tombs were simple. They were just a hole in the hot, dry sand of the desert. The sand kept the body dry. But this was not very safe. So, for important people, they started to build stronger tombs. They used bricks made of mud. They mixed mud from the Nile River with sand and straw. They put this mud into a block shape and let it dry in the sun. This is a mud brick. They used these mud bricks to build a new kind of tomb. This tomb was called a mastaba. A mastaba was a building with a flat roof and sides that went down at an angle. It looked like a very big box. It was built above the ground. But the mummy was not inside the box. Under the mastaba, there was a deep, deep hole. At the bottom of the hole, there was a small room. This was the real room for the mummy. They put the mummy and all the treasure in this room. Then they closed the room with big stones. It was secret and safe. The mastaba building on top had a small room too. This room was a small chapel. The family of the dead person could come to the chapel. They could bring food and gifts for the Ka. They believed the Ka could take these gifts to the afterlife. For many years, the pharaohs and other important people were buried in mastabas. A pharaoh would have a very big mastaba. A normal person would have a small one. But then, one pharaoh had a new idea. He was a very powerful pharaoh. He thought, I am a pharaoh. I am a god. A simple mastaba is not good enough for me. I need something bigger. I need something better. I need a tomb that will last forever. A tomb that touches the sky. This idea was the start of something new. This idea was the start of the pyramids. The mastaba was the first step. The next step was a big one. Chapter 2, The First Big Jump, the Step Pyramid. Our story continues with a pharaoh. His name was Djoser, say, Zoser. Djoser was a powerful pharaoh. Like the pharaohs before him, he wanted a tomb. He wanted a mastaba. But Djoser wanted his tomb to be special. He wanted it to be great. Pharaoh Djoser had a very special helper. This helper's name was Imhotep. Imhotep was a genius. Imhotep was not just a helper. He was a doctor. He was a writer. And he was a great architect. Pharaoh Djoser went to Imhotep. He said, "Imhotep, I want a tomb. I want a mastaba, but I want it to be the best. I want it to last forever." Imhotep thought about this. He knew about the normal mastabas. They were made of mud bricks. Mud bricks are good, but they are not super strong. After many years, they can break. Imhotep had a big idea. A new idea. He thought, what if we don't use mud bricks? What if we use stone? Using stone for a big building was a new idea. It was very difficult. Stone is heavy. But Imhotep was a genius. He made a plan. They started to build Djoser's tomb at a place called Saqqara. First, they built a mastaba. But it was not a normal mastaba. It was made of stone. It was square, not a rectangle. This was already different. But Imhotep was not finished. He looked at the big, stone mastaba. And he had another idea. A bigger idea. He thought, what if we put another, smaller mastaba on top of the first one? So they did. They built a smaller stone mastaba and put it on top of the big one. Now it looked like two boxes on top of each other. It looked good. It looked tall. But Imhotep was still not finished. His idea was getting bigger and bigger. He said, let's add more. So they did. They built another, even smaller mastaba on top of the second one. Now there were 3. Then they added a 4th one. And a 5th. And a 6th. Now, it was not a mastaba anymore. It was something new. It looked like giant steps going up to the sky. A ladder for the pharaoh's spirit to climb to the gods. This new building was the first pyramid. We call it the Step Pyramid. It had 6 big steps. It was very, very tall. It was about 62 meters tall. That is like a modern building with 20 floors. For the people of Egypt, this building was amazing. They had never seen anything like it. It was the tallest thing in their world. It was made completely of shining white stone. It looked magical. But Imhotep's work was not just the pyramid. Around the pyramid, he built a big complex. He built a big wall around the whole area. The wall was also made of stone. Inside the wall, there were other small temples and buildings. It was like a special city for the dead pharaoh. Deep under the pyramid, there was a room for Pharaoh Djoser's mummy. It was a secret room. It was protected by many tunnels and big, heavy stones. The Step Pyramid was a great success. It was a revolution. It was the first time people built something so big and so tall completely out of stone. Imhotep became very famous. People saw him as a hero. He showed that it was possible to build with stone on a huge scale. The Step Pyramid was the start of the Age of Pyramids. After Djoser, other pharaohs saw the Step Pyramid. They looked at the giant steps going to the sky. And they thought, wow. I want one, too. But I want mine to be even bigger. And that is how the next chapter of the pyramid story began. Chapter 3, The Age of Wonders, the Great Pyramids of Giza. After Imhotep built the Step Pyramid, the other pharaohs had a new idea. The steps were good. But they wanted something even better. They wanted a pyramid with flat, smooth sides. A pyramid that looked like a perfect triangle. The next pharaohs chose a new place to build. This place was called Giza, say, Gza. Giza is a high place. It is near the Nile River. It was a perfect spot for a great tomb. The first pharaoh to build at Giza was named Khufu, say, Khufu. Khufu wanted the biggest and best pyramid of all. So, his workers started to build the Great Pyramid. The Great Pyramid is amazing. It is the biggest of all the pyramids. It is made from more than 2 million blocks of stone. Can you imagine that? 2 million. Each stone block is huge and very, very heavy. Some blocks are as heavy as 2 cars. How did the workers lift these heavy stones so high? This is one of the biggest questions in history. It is a great mystery. No one knows the answer for sure. After Khufu, his son became the pharaoh. His name was Khafre, say, Khafre. Khafre wanted a great pyramid too. He built his pyramid right next to his father's pyramid. It is a little smaller than Khufu's pyramid, but it looks taller. Why? Because Khafre built his pyramid on higher ground. Khafre also built something else. Something very famous. He built the Great Sphinx. The Sphinx is a giant statue made of stone. It has the body of a lion and the head of a person. Many people think the face of the Sphinx is the face of Pharaoh Khafre. The Sphinx sits in front of the pyramids. It is like a guard, protecting the tombs of the pharaohs. There is one more pyramid at Giza. The third pyramid. It was built by the next pharaoh, Menkaure, say, Menkaure. Menkaure was Khafre's son. His pyramid is the smallest of the 3 big pyramids at Giza. But it is still a very big and beautiful building. So, at Giza, we have 3 big pyramids standing together. The Great Pyramid of Khufu, the Pyramid of Khafre, and the Pyramid of Menkaure. And the Sphinx is there to watch over them all. These pyramids are a true wonder of the world. They were built a very long time ago, but they are still here today for everyone to see. They show us how powerful the pharaohs of Egypt were. Chapter 4, The People Behind the Stones, the Workers. We see the giant pyramids. And we ask a big question: who built these amazing things? For a very long time, many people had one answer: slaves. Slave, a person who belongs to another person. A slave must work very hard and gets no money. Many movies and stories show thousands of slaves pushing and pulling the giant stones. But is this story true? Today, we have a new answer. The answer is no. The pyramids were not built by slaves. So, who built them? They were built by normal Egyptian workers. These workers were proud people. Most of them were farmers. Remember the Nile River? Every year, the river would flood. This means water covered all the farms. During this time, the farmers could not work on their farms. So, the pharaoh asked them to come and help build his tomb. For them, it was an honor to work for their pharaoh god. It was important work for their country and for their religion. The workers lived in a special town built near the pyramids. Archaeologists have found this town. Archaeologist, a person who digs in the ground to find old things and learn about the past. The archaeologists found the workers' houses. They found bakeries where they made bread. They found places where they made beer. They found fish bones and animal bones. This tells us the workers had good food. They ate bread, fish, and meat. They drank beer. A slave would not eat such good food. The workers were very organized. They worked in teams. Each team had a name, like the Friends of Khufu. Working in a team made the hard work easier. The work was very difficult and sometimes dangerous. But if a worker got hurt, they had doctors. Archaeologists have found the skeletons of the workers. They can see that broken bones were fixed. This shows that people cared for the workers. And here is the most important evidence. The archaeologists found the tombs of the workers. The workers were buried with respect near the pyramids of their pharaohs. They had small tombs with things for the afterlife. A slave would never get a proper tomb. So, we know the truth now. The pyramids were built by thousands of strong and skilled Egyptian men. They were not slaves. They were builders. They were a part of the greatest building project in their time. They worked together to build a home for their pharaoh, a stairway to the stars. Chapter 5, The Purpose and the Secrets. So, why did the Egyptians build these giant pyramids? What was their purpose? The simple answer is, a pyramid is a tomb. We learned this before. It is a super safe house for the pharaoh's mummy and his treasure. The pyramid keeps the pharaoh's body safe so his spirit, or Ka, can live in the afterlife. But this is not the whole story. The pyramid was not just a house. It was a machine. A special machine to help the pharaoh get to the sky. It was a stairway to the stars. How did this machine work? There are two big ideas. Idea 1, the pyramid is a ladder to the stars. The Egyptians loved to watch the stars in the night sky. They knew the stars very well. They believed that when a pharaoh died, his spirit would travel up to the sky and become a star. Inside the Great Pyramid, there are long, small tunnels. These tunnels are not for people. They are too small. They point from the pharaoh's room deep inside the pyramid up to the outside. Here is the secret: these small tunnels point exactly to special stars in the sky. They are like windows to the stars. The Egyptians believed these tunnels were special paths for the pharaoh's spirit to fly directly to the stars. Idea 2, the pyramid is a ray of sunshine. The most important god for the Egyptians was the sun god. His name was Ra, say, Ra. Ra was the king of all the gods. Now, look at the shape of a pyramid. It is a big triangle. When the sun is in the sky, it sends down rays of light. These rays look like long lines of light that make a triangle shape. Ray, a line of light from the sun or a lamp. The pyramid looks like a ray of sun made of stone. The Egyptians believed the pyramid was a ramp of sunlight. The pharaoh's spirit could walk up this ramp, all the way to the sun, to be with the god Ra. So, the pyramid was many things. It was a safe tomb. It was a ladder to the stars. It was a ramp to the sun. And it was one more thing, a symbol of power. When people saw the giant, shining pyramid, they knew their pharaoh was great and powerful. It showed everyone that Egypt was a strong and important country. It was a message that would last forever.